If you are asked to describe what's happening in the video, you're likely to say that it's a science experiment. But what if you are told that this is engineering in action? Well, what's the difference between the two? Welcome back to the Stepwise YouTube channel. In this series, we explore using AI to create materials for stepwise pedagogy. Today, we'll design a teacher teaches lesson for the Grade 10 Science Unit on climate change. This tutorial demonstrates how to use GenAI to compile a STEM-SC Matrices lesson. The lesson designed for one class covers both the input and practice segments of teacher teaches. This step-by-step guide will show you how to leverage generative AI tools to design lessons while ensuring alignment with the stepwise pedagogy. Stay tuned for more. As mentioned in our semiotics video, we need to understand how signs and symbols shape our understanding of the world. The creation of these signs and symbols is influenced by the world scientists live in and the people that they are connected to. Semiotics is human-made, not just by practitioners, but also by powerful individuals and groups in society. These signs and symbols affect individuals, societies, and the environment. In the STEM-SC issues, these world sign translations emerge from science or engineering. Thus, there is a need to understand the difference between science and engineering. Understanding this can help us build a matrix for any STEM-SC issue. A STEM-SC matrix helps students map out how the well-being of individuals, societies, and the environment is impacted in any given STEM-SC issue. You can use GenAI to plan a lesson about STEM-SC matrices. The lesson will begin with teaching students the difference between science and engineering. We can ask ChatGPT to create a 10-minute long slide set that helps grade 10 science students differentiate between science and engineering. The slide set should begin with a minds-on activity and use examples throughout. In the generated slide set, the definitions of science and engineering can be clarified by discussing how the two fields interact differently with variables. We can prompt ChatGPT to explain the distinct roles that variables have in how science and engineering work. The definition says that engineering uses scientific principles. However, informed by educational theories, we recognize that engineers often rely more on craft knowledge than on scientific knowledge. We can ask for an improved definition based on this perspective. After teaching about the difference between science and engineering, we can move on to STEM-SC matrices. This may not be a concept that ChatGPT is aware of. We can upload a sample STEM-SC matrix to give ChatGPT a background understanding of what STEM-SC matrices are. When we upload the matrix and ask ChatGPT about it, it provides a simple summary of the matrix. We can ask it to actually describe the exact relationships between the categories to ensure that it has a correct understanding of these matrices. The AI describes the relationships correctly, but switches them around for some of the errors. We can prompt for this error to be corrected. Now that ChatGPT has an understanding of STEM-SC matrices, we can prompt it to create a lesson to teach about them. It creates a lesson complete with activities, and we can then ask it to generate a slide set and a handout or an activity based on this. ChatGPT's output asks students to reflect on how science and engineering influence the issue, but it doesn't necessarily problematize the STEM-SC issues. We can refine the slides to prompt students to consider not only how science and engineering explain and impact any STEM-SC issue, but also how they contribute to negative effects on the well-being of individuals, societies, and the environment. This should also address how humans use science and engineering to shape or influence a STEM-SC issue. To ensure the matrix explanation covers both biotic and abiotic entities, we can ask ChatGPT to include how these entities influence or are impacted by our specific STEM-SC issue. In this way, we can get the help of AI models to create content and activities for the teacher teaches section of stepwise pedagogy. Do remember that these models have conversational memory, so we can edit the prompts as needed to get the desired outcome. We hope you found this video helpful in designing a lesson on STEM-SC matrices. Subscribe to the Stepwise YouTube channel to learn more about related topics like semiotics, actor network theory, and dispositives.